welcome back. Today we're going to be covering Fursuit Head Making Part 2, which is going to be on the ears. Which will be on ears. Now we covered horns and claws in our last video, which you can find in the iCard right now. But today we're going to be covering ears in preparation for our hollowing and preparation tutorial, probably on Monday or Tuesday. So let's begin. Now you can use a few shapes. I'm personally going to take to my old faithful friend, the cylinder for this. Most of the cylinder you can manipulate into cones. But the benefit of that is you can shape them to more unique shapes. Now for ears, depending on the ears you're making, I'm going to follow what I intend to follow for my head-based tutorial, my Dino Dog reference sheet, which the artist will be in the comments below, in the description. But as you can see, this character has floppy ears. That's okay. We can make that work. Similar to our head-based tutorial, you're going to want to line them up with the ears in question. Actually, no. Floppy ears are more done with. We can cover floppy ears, because it's actually floppy ears are half of them in ears. We can actually cover floppy ears and pointed ears. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a cylinder that is semi-wide and for all the ears rather short. We're going to wide ear contact base. We can get the base to stick onto the ears, and we need a more wide top so we can make the ears hasn't been folded over. But as you can see, this shape is kind of looks like an upside down cup. Thankfully, we have tools for that. Namely the flatten tool. In which case, we're just going to flatten out the side of the cube. Flatten out the side of our cylinder so they get nice and flat edged. My intensity as per usual is on 50%, but I'm going to actually widen my radius to about 150, so we can get more of a generally flat area with a bigger, wider canvas. As you can see, this is pretty good. You don't want it perfectly smooth, but you want it relatively round as well, because you want to have a lot of surface on the bottom for a contact point, but you want to have enough surface on the top that you can turn into an ear. You don't want it razor thin. That's actually almost too thin. About this is what you want, depending on how thick your ears are and what you're making them out of. If you're making floppy ears, you can do this in one of two ways. You can, my personal recommended method is to make them half out of 3D printing or foam. We're going to use this. This is our 3D model. We can use it to carve out our foam, for example. You want to take something like Plushify, and you can also take this shape and apply this to make regular ears. But we'll use this example for flat ears. Basically, you just want to take the shape and make them to about the same size as the ears are. As you can see, my ears have a little bit of a divot in them, which we can take the trim tool. Reset. Again, you can do this with the lasso tool. I just don't have the hand stability to do this with the lasso tool, so I'm gonna use the ellipse tool. But as you can see, we have now a nice shape. That's almost too much taken out, so we can actually go back and reset and make this a little smaller. now our ear will fold in the middle. If you want to smooth out this sharp corner, you can do that with the smooth tool. And as you can see, it looks much more like a tooth now, like an upside down tooth now, but it is now the correct shape for the ear. So all you have to do is just clone that to the other side. That is the wrong move tool. That's also the wrong move tool. That's how to do the clone. And as you can see, we now have a rough shape for the ears. Now, if you're making this onto a head base, you're going to want to probably round out this bottom edge. I don't have a head base for this to be attached to, but you're going to want to round out this bottom edge so your ears won't be quite so solid. But if you make them like this, they'll have the top section that'll be out a little further. Out a little further, that way you can make them have a nice flop to them. If you're making something like more sharpened ears, say like Twistars are, for that, like my main Fursuit Twistar, as you can see in my avatar, we can make that as well. That's no button. There you go. I'll save floppy ears, and then open new, create a scene. Now, for more sharpened ears, let's pull up a ref sheet for Let's pull up a ref sheet for sharpened ears, shall we? Let's see. Who do I have for sharpened ears that we can use for examples? Let's use another character that's going to be on my sales list. This is another dot that's going on my sales list. Why are you green? There you go. File, import that image. Reference. There we go. This will be our reference image for this example. Now, as you can see, this character, Calypso, has more indented ears, which is fine. We can actually make that happen. Unlike Twistar's ears, as you can see, are more open. This character has dented in, has ears that are more covered as an actual cat. Co-star as a serval, but we can make that happen no problem with a little bit of creativity. For this, you're definitely gonna want a triangle, like a cylinder or cone for this. But I recommend cones more for this example because of how the shaping is. So take your ears to the base and line them up. Make sure they're about the same size. A little thicker. No, a little thinner than that. You're going to want a little extra thickness on this one because this is going to be able to attach to your base better. Validate. As you can see, we just have a regular old cone. What we can do is take the flatten tool and just flatten out an edge. I recommend turning down your thing from 150 to probably say even if it's 90 should be good, because you're gonna want to make the ears the right shape. So you're gonna want to like smooth them out and shape them out. Now you might notice the fact that we have the basic shape of an ear, but the problem is that the top is too thin and the base isn't, and this piece isn't correct. That's fine. We can zoom in on our ear. And use we don't want to use the cutting tools for this one. We want to actually use the clay tool with sublimation on to start carving out the basic, to start carving the inside of the ear out. And this is one of the few times, unlike my head sculpting tutorials, where you can actually use the clay tool without any issues. I've actually had to help someone in the maker in a server earlier today who had tried to make a base using 3 cones, not using 3 different shapes instead of one basic one, instead of one big one, and it caused them a lot of headache. Which is why I tell you guys to do this. It just makes your life so much easier. I'm not saying a person did something wrong. I'm just saying it's a little helpful tip, because it will save you a lot of time down the road. But again, just smooth out the ear, make sure it's nice and to your specifications. Now, as you can see, this thing has a big wall here. Once again, I'd recommend taking the brush tool this time because it's more potent. Again, 50% intensity. Let's go to a 45 for this one, because this one's a little more intense. This one's a little more sharp. And just carve out the inside of your ear. Make sure you don't carve out the back. As you can see, we're starting to get a little thin again, which is where we can take the off sublimation and just thicken it out a little bit. As you can see, our polygons are starting to get messed up again, so just take the smooth tool and basically go back and forth, similar to my other tutorials. Just go back and forth and shape and edit and manipulate and just basically make this look the best way you want it to look. I don't know what your persona looks like So you have to use your own judgment, or have someone like me do it professional. Have someone like me do it who knows, who has a good experience. I don't mind doing your characters for you. I just quite enjoy it. As I said in my other tutorials, it's very therapeutic to me. And I might be thinking this is a little bit too thin. Actually, it's about right. I have another fursuit that has TPU ears, and the ears on Twistar, that's my suit, are actually quite thin. So having a little bit of extra depth is not a big deal. The only thing that will cause a problem is you see how this edge isn't lined up properly. You see how it cuts off here, but it comes way out more here. That's fine. We can take the move tool and fix that. And there we go. That's the ear. Now, obviously, we won't be doing you can do the fluff in Nomad Sculpt. I just personally will not be, because this character will be made with fur on the inside of the ears. So there's no need to do so. As you can see, there you go. Fursuit ears. If you have any questions on this tutorial or any other tutorial, please reach out in the comments, or reach out to me on my socials at Lunar Gears _Gears on Discord, and at Lunar Gears no _ on Telegram. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out, and have a great day. I will talk to you guys again soon.